The curse continues in the mistake by the lake. I feel bad for fans of the Cleveland Browns. This passionate fan base, they cannot catch a break with quarterbacks. Hell, they can't catch a break with this franchise. The Browns are a flaming ass fire. They draft Johnny Manziel with the number one overall pick. He spent his NFL career practicing for rehab. They broke the bank a couple of years ago for Deshaun Watson when everyone not named the New Orleans Saints knew it was a bad idea. Bob Griffin the Trace, better known as RG3. Some dude named Brandon Weeden, who is probably managing a dispensary right now in the People's Republic of California. Colt McCoy. Perhaps the most painful loss in Cleveland was Baker Mayfield, who showed promise when he was with the Browns, but he just needed to grow up, needed to mature. Browns ran out of patience with him. Baker Mayfield bounced around from Los Angeles to Carolina, ends up in Tampa Bay, where he is easily the best quarterback in the NFC South. And you can make the case that Baker Mayfield's been one of the most reliable quarterbacks in the last few years in the NFC. Last Friday night, the Browns were finally given a glimmer of hope at the quarterback position, even though it was just the preseason. Shedeur Sanders was impressive. Obviously, he wasn't going to be your starter week one, but at least you had something to look forward to. At least you had a little bit of hope for the future. Unfortunately, that hope instantly vanished yesterday when it was announced that Shedeur Sanders has an oblique injury that will probably keep him out the rest of the preseason. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. Yesterday afternoon, the Browns announced that Shedeur Sanders suffered an oblique injury in practice. Mild strains can take 1 to 3 weeks to recover from. Moderate strains, they could take 4-6 weeks. Either way, Shedeur Sanders definitely ain't playing this weekend. And it's possible that he could miss the remainder of training camp and the preseason. This could be potentially devastating for Shedeur Sanders. This is a very unforgiving league. Ken Pickett has been limited at practice this week. He's still recovering from a hamstring injury, but seems to be recovering well. Dillon Gabriel, he has been practicing, and he could be the starter this weekend for the Browns. This roster is already quarterback heavy. At one point, I think the Browns had 6 quarterbacks on the roster in training camp. One thing I know for sure, there's not going to be 6 quarterbacks on the roster going into week 1 of the regular season. Joe Flacco's not going anywhere. His spot is cemented, at least for now. The question over the next couple of weeks, who is going to be the backup? And who will be the professional clipboard holder and water collector at QB3? If Shedeur Sanders can't complete training camp, if he can't play, this ain't good. If Dillon Gabriel performs, he could easily slide into the backup role. With Ken Pickett, he's already a veteran backup in the league with experience as a starter. I think the biggest threat to Shedeur Sanders right now, besides the injury, is going to be Dillon Gabriel. You hate to see any of your teammates fail, but if you're Shedeur Sanders, you're silently hoping Dillon Gabriel drops a turd in the game this weekend. Otherwise, your ass could potentially be cut. There is one saving grace, though, for Shedeur Sanders. He's got one advantage over every quarterback on the roster that none of them are going to develop in training camp. Shedeur Sanders sells tickets. Shedeur Sanders puts you in the national spotlight. Now, at the same time, this could be perceived as a negative because it creates distractions. And the one thing that every coach in the NFL is trying to eliminate is distractions. Hopefully, though, this injury is nothing serious. Hopefully, Shedeur Sanders can get back on the field next week. But if he's out for the rest of the preseason, is Shedeur Sanders at risk of being cut by the Browns? Me personally, I don't think so. With how he played last Friday night and his ability to sell tickets and energize the fan base, I just don't think you can cut him. But you tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys on the main channel.